Have you ever told yourself you were healed just because you stopped talking about the pain? For the longest time, I believed healing meant forgetting. That if I smiled, moved on with life, and pretended everything was fine, the hurt would somehow disappear. But deep down, I was wrong, and I learned it the hard way. There was a season in my life where I was carrying so much hurt. On the outside, I laughed, I worked, I looked okay. But on the inside, my heart was heavy. I told myself, if I don't think about it, if I don't speak about it, maybe I'll be fine. So I buried the pain. I avoided certain memories. I even convinced myself that time alone would heal. But here's what really happened. Every time I was quiet and alone, those same feelings returned. The pain replayed like an old song I didn't want to hear. I realized ignoring the wound didn't make it go away. It only made me bleed silently. And that's when it hit me. Forgetting isn't healing, pretending isn't strength, and silence isn't peace. One day I couldn't hold it in anymore. I broke down, and instead of running from the pain, I decided to face it. I prayed. I journaled. I admitted to myself and to God that I was still hurting. And that was the beginning of true healing. Healing came when I allowed myself to feel, to grieve, to release, and then to slowly rebuild. I discovered that healing is not about erasing memories. It's about transforming them into lessons and allowing God to turn my pain into strength. And after that season, my perspective shifted. I started seeing my scars as a map, a roadmap of my healing journey, each mark telling a story of survival, resilience, and faith. It made me realize we're all walking this journey of healing, whether it's a broken relationship, a painful memory, or a deep-rooted trauma. Sometimes the path to healing isn't easy. There are moments when the pain feels fresh, the memories too vivid, and the future seems uncertain. But I'm here to tell you, keep going. Don't give up on seeking help, on facing your pain. You see, in a world that often tells us to just move on, to brush it off and pretend it doesn't hurt, it's important to acknowledge our wounds, because pretending to be okay when we're not only delays the healing process, but it also prevents us from experiencing true freedom. In today's video, I want to share 3 reasons why forgetting is not healing. My hope is that by recognizing these common misconceptions, we can take steps towards genuine healing and wholeness. Number 1, forgetting isn't healing. Acceptance is. One of the most difficult things we have to accept is that some people will never apologize, some hurts will never be explained, and some wounds will always hurt. There's a saying, time heals all wounds. But let me tell you something. Time doesn't automatically heal anything. Time is just a duration in which things either get better or worse. It's what we do with the time that matters. During those times of hurt, we may try to escape the pain through distractions, throw ourselves into work or pleasure, hoping to numb the feelings. But as I've learned, these temporary escapes only postpone the healing process. True healing begins when we decide to stop fighting the pain and instead choose to accept it. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning or excusing what happened. It simply means acknowledging the reality of the situation and choosing not to resist it. For example, if someone has betrayed our trust, we may struggle to forgive them. We might keep replaying the moment they broke our trust in our minds, hoping that if we think about it enough, things will change. But here's the truth. Dwelling on the past and refusing to accept what happened won't change it. Instead, it keeps the wound open and prevents us from moving forward. When we refuse to accept the reality of a situation, we're essentially resisting the opportunity to heal. We're holding on to the pain, allowing it to control our emotions and actions. Imagine trying to push a heavy boulder up a hill. At first, we might feel strong and determined, but as the weight of the rock becomes more unbearable, we start to panic. Our muscles strain, our breath becomes ragged, and we find ourselves exhausted and defeated. In the end, We're left with nothing to show for our efforts except aching muscles and a boulder still at the bottom of the hill. But what happens when we change our approach? What if instead of pushing the boulder uphill, we decide to walk around it? Suddenly, the task becomes less daunting. We find a path that leads us around the obstacle, and we're able to move forward without wasting our energy on futile efforts. In a similar way, when we choose to accept the reality of a situation, we free ourselves from the burden of resisting. We acknowledge the weight of the pain, but instead of pushing against it, we redirect our energy towards healing. This shift in perspective allows us to move forward on our journey of recovery without getting stuck in the quicksand of denial. Number 2, forgetting isn't healing. Distracting ourselves is. Many times we attempt to heal by distracting ourselves with work, social media, or other forms of entertainment. While these distractions might offer temporary relief, they ultimately prevent us from confronting the root causes of our pain. For instance, when someone experiences a loss, they might throw themselves into their work, socializing, or hobbies, determined to push away the overwhelming feelings of grief. However, suppressing these emotions doesn't allow for proper grieving and can lead to unresolved trauma. Similarly, if someone has been through a traumatic event, they might seek comfort in social media, constantly scrolling through feeds to avoid facing the emotional and psychological impact of what they've experienced. When we distract ourselves from our pain, we're essentially avoiding the necessary process of healing. Just like a wound that needs to be cleaned and bandaged to heal, our emotional wounds require attention and care. By trying to ignore or distract ourselves from the pain, we prevent ourselves from fully addressing and healing the underlying issues. Think of it like trying to put a bandage on a deep cut without cleaning the wound first. The bandage might cover up the injury, but it won't promote healing and could lead to infection. In the same way, distracting ourselves from our pain might provide temporary relief, but it prevents us from confronting the issue and working through it. But here's the good news. It's never too late to start the healing process. We can always choose to set aside our distractions and turn our attention towards our pain. When we do this, we open ourselves up to the possibility of healing and growth. Number 3, forgetting isn't healing. Seeking help is. The journey towards healing is not a solo adventure. It's a path we're meant to walk with others who care about us and want to support us along the way. Reaching out for help might seem scary, but it's a crucial step in the healing process. When we seek help, we're acknowledging that we're not alone in our struggles. We're showing strength, not weakness. We're opening ourselves up to the possibility of healing, growth, and transformation. For instance, if you're struggling with the emotional baggage of a past relationship, seeking therapy could be incredibly beneficial. A therapist provides a safe space for you to explore your feelings, process your emotions, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Similarly, if you're dealing with the aftermath of a traumatic event, reaching out to a counselor or joining a support group can help you process the trauma and find ways to heal. When we seek help, we gain access to tools and strategies that we might not have known before. We learn how to manage our emotions, communicate effectively, and build healthy relationships. We discover that we have the power to shape our own healing journey and create a future filled with hope and resilience. It reminds me of a time when I was struggling with a difficult situation and felt like I had no one to turn to. I remember feeling overwhelmed, confused, and scared. But then I reached out to a mentor, and in that moment, my perspective shifted. In sharing my story, I realized that I wasn't alone in my struggles. My mentor listened with empathy, offered words of wisdom and guidance, and helped me see the situation from a different angle. With their support and encouragement, I gained strength, clarity, and hope. Healing is a testament to our strength, our resilience, and our capacity for growth. It's a journey that requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront our pain. But it's a journey worth taking because on the other side of healing, we'll find freedom, peace, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our purpose. My question for you is this: what healing have you sought after? How did you overcome the fear of seeking help? Feel free to share your thoughts, experiences, or insights in the comments section below. Your story might resonate with someone else who's going through a similar journey. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more videos on healing, courage, and faith. Let's continue to walk this journey together. Thank you for watching.